I kept hearing people talk about, oh, there's a book. If you read there's a book, you just have to get the book. The book is so fantastic that their life has been transformed and all. So I kept telling myself, what else with this? Is it not the man I'm seeing? Is it not the man I'm listening to? What else will be in his book? So
is it not the same thing he's going to be talking?
Exactly. Is it not the same thing he's going to put in the book? So somehow, I don't know, something just said, you know what? Why don't just try read one of his books? So I said, okay. So somebody made mention of, I think it was Create Your Own Network. So I said, okay, let me start with that book. So when I went on Amazon, honestly, I was shocked because when I typed your name, the number of books I saw was like, was shocking. Was so many. I was like, what? So it really has this number of books.
You didn't know you had been missing out.
I had no idea. So I started scrolling. At a point I got confused. I said, okay, which one should I buy? Because I see so many interesting titles. So I said, okay, let me start with the one that somebody recommended while they called him. So I decided to buy Create Your Own Network. So I bought it on my Kindle, my Amazon Kindle, and I sat down to read it. I was reading the book, just the preface, the first. I've not even started chapter 1. I read the first page. I read the second page.
Create your own network.
Yeah. So after reading the first 2 pages of the book, I just kept my Kindle device down. I just walked straight to my PC and I instantly registered for HMT because the depth of the content that I read, I was blown away. In just not chapter 1, just the first 2 pages, the introduction, I was completely blown away. I said, look, I know I read. I've read like Miles Morales' book. I've read motivational books. I've read books, but after reading just that 2 pages, I was like, what? I said, this man is still alive. What will stop me from seeing him? I just kept my Kindle. I just came straight to my laptop. It took me time. I was searching for your blog, navigating until I finally saw the page. It was a long form. I sat down, completed the form, sent an email. After I did that, I was contented. So I just went back to the book and I sat. And I read that book till late in the night. I think the very first day I finished about 6 chapters. So I just sat down.
That is more than half of the book. Oh.
Yes, it was.
Are you talking about this particular book?
Yes, Create Your Own Network.
It was like as if you never did what?
It was as if I've never read books before, and I've been honest before God and man. It was as if I've never read books because what I was getting was like what and. What really intrigued me the most was the fact that you are a pastor. It's not like you are one of these people I kind of like associate things like that to like motivational speakers, self-help books. But I said, he's a pastor, but where is he getting this thing from? The information was just mind-boggling, especially when you started talking about, although that's not the book I'm reviewing now, but you started talking about something to do with you're giving strategies and steps on how one can actually create your network. Because before I read that book, I've never heard it before. Because the starting of the book, you said that everyone has a self-worth.
Yeah.
But not everybody has a network.
Yeah, and they didn't know that self-worth could be converted into network.
So networks, I never came across that concept before.
Can you imagine it? That everybody who has ever read this book said they never came across that concept before. Almost there is nobody who has read it who has said they had that. They even said they never even thought in that area from that algorithm before.
Not at all. So after reading the books, I just said no. I said I have to register because while I was
register for HMT.
Yeah. So because when I was listening on the live Facebook live broadcast, I know the HMT was mentioned up then. I think you were treating syncretism in church or something like that. So I know HMT was mentioned about maybe once or two, about twice or thrice, saying that okay, the next HMT is coming up in January. So after reading that book, I said no, I have to. For myself, I said for one, I'm listening to the man, I'm reading his book. This is the depth of wisdom in this book, and the man is alive. I said I have to see it for myself.
Yeah,
so
because some people will get to discover this book when it's impossible to find and to meet Pastor Sunday. Either I'm going to be unavailable, either there will not be opportunities, either I will be dead, you know. But so it's such a wise thing, such a big wisdom to act while it is A. That's what it's called? Make A while sunshine or something. Yeah, to make AY sunshine. Yeah.
Yeah, so I just decided, I said, you know what, I have to see. So I said, I don't bother how much it is going to cost me. I must make sure I come to Ukraine and see you in person, to have a contact with you, to have that experience. Because I say because a man who will write such a book, it means there's still well of depth of information and wisdom in that man. So definitely it would be stupid of me if after reading and getting such information I don't know, I sit back and do nothing. I said because for me if let's say if you taste the truth, you don't want to go back. So after hearing that, I said no, there's no turning back. There's no turning back, and that was it for me. And ever since then, your book has been like food. Your book has been like food to me. I consume your book every single day. Every single day. So far, in fact, I just ordered for 10 books, and they'll be delivered. I think the old books, 10 of your old books, but the new ones, I've just been buying them all on my Kindle device, and I have been reading and devouring them. It's like
there is a statement. What is that statement I said you made? Can you repeat it?
Yes. When I was reading the book, after I came, registered for the HMT, then went back to continue reading the book. It got to a point. I told myself, I said, look, even the book is better than the man, because I know I've listened to you talk and teach in the live broadcast of us. Then I didn't know that there were loads of YouTube videos. I didn't realize that because I think maybe it wasn't mentioned, or I don't know whether it escaped me. So I've not listened to any of your YouTube video. All I heard was your Facebook live broadcast. So when I was reading the book, I said the content in this book, I said it's even better than what I've heard from the man himself. So that was when I made the statement that even the book is great, like the book is better than the man. So I decided, I said, I'm going to divorce. So I gave myself a target instantly then, and I started, because I now went on.
What are the other books you have been able to read apart from that one before we settle on the one we are going to review today?
Okay. So far I've read.
You have your Kindle. You better open it.
Yeah. I've read Create Your Own Net Worth.
Okay.
The second book I read was Stop Working for Uncle Sam.
This is a Create Your Own Net Worth that exposed you to who DSA is.
Yeah, that's the very first book I read.
The next one after this is Uncle Sam.
Yeah, Stop Working for Uncle Sam.
Okay.
And the third one I read was Who Am I and Why Am I Here? Yeah, that was Stop Working for Uncle Sam. Yeah.
Okay. And then Who Am I?
Who Am I and Why Am I Here?
Okay.
Yeah. Then the fourth book is the book we are reviewing today, How to Regain Your Lost Years.
Yeah.
Then after that, I read How to Be in.
Hello. something. What could that be? Is that the internet, or that is lying? Is that is from his own side, or what? We might need to call him back, or because it's like he's frozen. Hello. He's saying some very important things. We shouldn't let him go. He's saying some very, very important stuff. Okay, I think we might need to call him back because there seems to be a challenge right there. Okay, I think what I'm going to do is... Yeah, I think we are going to try to get him back, okay? Meanwhile, we are going to get him back. I'm sorry for that, but these are the books that he said he has read. The one we are going to review today is, give me the ones he said he has read. How to Regain Your Lost Years. This is the one we are going to review today. So he's going to be able to talk more in essence about this one. He's going to talk more about it, this one. But the first one he read, why he said, I must go and look for this author, and he flew to Ukraine to participate in HMT, is this one. Create your own network. Connect with us. Create your own net worth, which is the one that made him to buy his ticket and move over, come over to Ukraine. Then he has also read this one, Stop Working for Uncle Sam. And then he said he has also read Who Am I? Who Am I? So, but let me tell you people that we have the next HMT in April. From the 1st of April, to the 7th or 8th. So we are going to be, yeah. Okay. I think Chris is back. Hello, Chris.
Hello, sir. I think it was my broadband. I don't know what happened.
So you mentioned Who Am I? You have read Who Am I?
Yeah, Who Am I and Why Am I Here?
Stop Working for Uncle Sam.
Working for Uncle Sam.
Create Your Own Net Worth.
Create Your Own Net Worth.
And then the one we are reviewing today.
The How to Regain Your Lost Years. Then after that, I read How to Be in the Here and Now.
That's a serious book.
Yeah. And I also read The Law of Difference.
Wow, that's a powerful book. The Law of Difference.
That's a book. Yeah, that's a book I want to go back to.
That book. You know what people tell me? You know what people tell me about this book? They said they now use it like a Bible. You know the way we used to sleep with the Bible just beside our bed. Somebody said, I just want to be reading this book before I go to bed every day. And when I wake up or when I have bad mood, I just want to open it and go and read it again.
Exactly. It's a book. It's a book that you don't want to rush. You don't want to rush the book. So you want to really take your time and study. So after I read it, I kept it aside and I went to my schedule and reschedule the book for a specific date and time to read it. So it's a book I want to read again. Yeah, The Law of Difference.
Okay.
Then the next book I read was Church Shift.
Wow.
That was killing. That was mind-boggling.
That's my first book in English.
Church Shift is on another level. It was on another level.
Dr. Success said that is for him, that is the best book that has ever been written.
For me, I just feel that for you as a Christian, before you die, before you pass this world, you have to read that book. It's a book every Christian. In fact, I will promote that book as much as I can. Two books. One other of my favorite book which I read after church was The Kingdom Driven Life.
Okay.
Those two books. Those two books. Oh my God. Oh my God. I don't have words to describe it. Those two books are books that every Christian, every believer, irrespective of your denomination, irrespective of affiliation, your religious belief, those are books that you must read. For me, I told myself that I will read Church Shift and Kingdom Driven Life at least once every year until I go. Once every year. Those books are books that they are just too much. They are too much. Pastor said I don't have words to even describe them because just for example, I was talking to a lady in my office, and just after about, I would say 5 or 10 minutes of discussion, she was like, sorry, which church do you worship? I told her I don't go to church. She said, why? After I explained why I don't go to church, she was like, it's like me too, I will stop going to church. I said, no, you don't have to stop going to church. So right then, after we finished discussion, she came to meet me in my desk, and she was like, please, can we start a fellowship? I said, He said, I want to learn more. I said, okay. I said, well, we can start. I said, but it's not going to be the regular fellowship that you are used to. I said, it's going to be a kingdom-based, I don't want to call it will be a kingdom-based fellowship, but it will be this religious fellowship. I said it will be knowledge impartation. She said she's more than willing. So we started that already in the church, in our office, and gradually we are growing. A couple of people are joining. So it was all because of the information I shared from the Kingdom Driven Life and from Church Shift. Because she never ever, and she's about 55, she never ever saw church and Christian life from that perspective before. She never ever saw her Christian faith from that perspective. So right now we have a fellowship that we are doing in church, and those are books I would recommend. And the funny thing is that she went on Amazon and looked for the book instantly and purchased the book. So she bought Kingdom Driven Life, and she also bought Who Am I? And also bought, I think she bought one other book for her, Create Your Own Network for her daughter. So she bought Create Your Own Network for her daughter, bought the Kingdom Driven Life, and Who Am I?
So you have read 1, 2, 3, 8 books now.
I've read more than 8, sir.
You have other names?
Yeah. After that, I read the Poverty Mindset versus Abundance Mindset. That was another book. Sir, all your books are just like life transforming. Then, as part of the mentorship program, I've finished reading The Essence and Value of Life. That is another great book. I'm just about to start Life is an Opportunity. So I'll be starting Life is an Opportunity today.
So you've read The Essence and Value of Life. You've read Poverty Mindset versus Abundance Mindset. Kingdom Driven Life. And then, the one you say you just finished, you want to begin to read. Life is an Opportunity.
It's Life is an Opportunity.
Okay, give me the one you have there. The Essence of Life is one of the new ones.
Yeah.
This is the Life is an Opportunity.
That's the one I'm starting. That's the one I'm starting.
Abundance Mindset. Bring is the second one there. No. Abundant Mindset is the second one you are saying there. Why are you not looking? This is Life is an Opportunity.
Yeah.
And this is poverty versus mindset versus abundance mindset.
Abundance mindset, yes.
Pastor Pamon, give me 90 the essence and value of life. Poverty mindset versus abundance mindset.
Yeah.
Okay. The essence and value of life.
Yeah.
This one.
Yes. Yeah, I just completed that. The essence and value of life.
So what is your general impression of Pastor Sunday's books before we go specifically into this one we are going to?
Honestly speaking, and I must be
because you said you used to like to read books and you have read many books. So what's your? I want to hear your assessment now.
I must be very, very, very sincere if I want to be honest before God and before man, right, Pastor Sunday. Not trying to elevate you or to promote you, but your books, I've never read books. I've never read books like a book. And the reason I say that is most of the books I've read just gives you, I would say, peripheral knowledge. They just give you surface knowledge. There's no depth. There's no practicality to the book. For example, I've read a couple of Miles Monroe's book like, I think the only of his book I've not read is Burden of Freedom. I think I've read the Spirit of Leadership. I've also read his books on the purpose of man, purpose of women. I've also read
the Kingdom books.
Yeah, even his Kingdom books. I've listened to his Kingdom messages. Yeah, but yeah, I get what he's saying, but at the same time, there's no way for me to actually put it into, I wouldn't say put it into practice, I think to apply it to my life, my day-to-day life. It's very difficult. It's like, it's more theoretical. It's more, yeah, you're trying, like your hypothesis, let me put it that way. It's more like an hypothesis. But your books are, and there's something again I discovered with your books. I think it's not, I think I see that as God's gift to you, and as an anointing that you have, that most of these authors don't have. The books have a way of reaching into the depths of your heart and pulling out the essence of who you are. I tell people, you can't read this book and sit down and not want to do anything. It's impossible. If you read Pastor Sunday's book, JS's book, and you are not moved to do something, it is either, I don't know, it is either your conscience is dead.
People say they begin to get ideas.
Sir, you know, I used to think, personally, I think I mentioned it to you once before, I used to think that I wasn't a creative person. Because it got to a point I was like, why is it I'm not coming out? I see people come up with inventions, see people come out with creative ideas, and I tell myself, why is it I'm not coming out with new concepts, with new ideas, or not being innovative? You understand? Even though I was reading books. But do you know, when I was reading, after I read Create Your Own Network and I read Stop Working for Uncle Sam, I think between Stop Working for Uncle Sam and Who Am I, the amount of ideas that started flowing into my head, I honestly speaking, I couldn't contain it. I had to get a book, and I started writing. And you know what? Especially after I came back from HNT, you know what? It's not just that the ideas are coming. It's good if the idea comes. You just write, okay, the title of the idea. Okay, this is what idea I have. The idea comes both with the strategy and the structure and the system that should be in place. It's so amazing. In fact, I remember I was reading one of the books, and as I was there, I just got an idea. And the idea is something that has been a passion in my heart, and is to help the homeless. And the idea came, inclusive with the idea, I just started getting ideas of how to go about it, how to implement it, the structure I should put in place, the system I should put in place, everything. So I just got a book. I wrote like one, I mean, when I say 1 or 2 pages, full of ideas of how to go about it, how to implement it. And not just that, so many, so many. In fact, like I told you when I came in HMT, I was reading one of the books, and the idea just came and was like, why don't you convert this book into mini pamphlets that are not too expensive, that people can just buy, like small books, and maybe 50 pages, 100 pages at max, or maybe 25 pages. Just put nuggets and just put your teachings. You still have like maybe 4 to 5 or 6 chapters, but it's like concise. And I was like, okay, how do I do it? And I think just can take one chapter of the book. Each chapter turns into a little pamphlet. And as I was there, before I finished the book, I got 8 different titles of 8 different books that I should write. And so far, God has given me 21 titles, 21 different titles. And I'm actually working on my first book, like I said, and by God's grace, very soon, it will come out. And just yesterday, we were watching the love series, and a powerful idea just came to my mind. And God just gave me like what to do, how to go about to do it. I was like, oh my God. So I just touched down, took a book and just write. So yeah, I can relate to them. You read this book, there's no way your life, if you are sincere, if you are open-minded, there's no way your life can remain the same. And like Pastor, I told you, I said, I met you, I started watching you in October. Between October and now, and I wouldn't want to count January, because in January I was ill for most of the weeks in January, so I really didn't do much. But October, November, December, and February so far, what I have used my life, although I'm still very much in the early stages, but what I have seen, the transformation I've seen in my life, has never occurred for all the years I've been a Christian. It is just the truth. All the years I've been a Christian, I have not seen the level of transformation that I've seen now. And it even has to do with my relationship with people. My relationship with people has completely transformed. Although yes, I'm still a work in progress, and I'll still get there, but the whole mindset, my whole mind is just like, it's just I would say 180-degree shift in my mindset. The way I think, the way I relate to people, how conscious I am of myself and my life is just mind-boggling. Why did you decide to review this particular book? Yes. Of all the books, in fact, it was a struggle for me at first to choose which book to review. But have you left your comments on Amazon as well? Yes. Okay. I've left my comments on a couple of books. Okay. Not just one. I've made a comment about 5 or 6 books. Good. Yeah. Yeah, go ahead, please. So, yes. Yeah, so I was actually thinking, which book do I actually review? And after I looked at it, yes, I got a lot of transformation from all the books I've read. But with this book, because for me, basically, looking back at my life, in my past, I can say that I've lost a lot of ground. What will be your age now? You said? What will be your age now? My age? Yes. I'm almost approaching 40. Approaching 40? Yeah. But from my teachings, at 40, you should be ready to die. Yes. I shouldn't be doing anything now. And that's why this book made so much difference for me, because I know I've lost ground, and I need to regain ground. And that's why I'm not taking it easy. I'm not taking it lightly on myself. Like the other day, I was talking to a friend of mine. I said, look, now I sleep only 4 hours a day. You have become like DSA. Yeah, I said I sleep only 4 hours a day. I said because I was calculating and asking myself, how long have I been sleeping all my life? And when it dawned on me, I was like, oh my God. So right now, I don't mess around with my time. I don't want people to mess around with my time. I'm so conscious of my time. I don't waste it. Even in the office, my time is like precious to me. So everything now has been compartmentalized. I don't know what I was telling a friend. I said I break, apart from my sleep time, which is 4 hours, I break the remaining of my time into blocks of 3 hours, and each of those blocks is targeted at a specific goal, to achieve a specific goal. And each of those 3 hours is further broken down to 1 hour. So I will, and all this I got from your book. All this I got from your book. I've been a Christian for all my life. I never saw this. Nobody taught me. Nobody spoke about it. Even when I tried to glean it from the books I read, it's like they're very there.
Nothing concrete.
Nothing concrete. So now I compartmentalize my life. My time is compartmentalized. I focus. I am. Pastor Sunday, it's words fulfill me. Words fulfill me. And I just tell myself, I said, if I had done this in a space of how many months?
3 months.
What will my life be after 3 years, after 5 years of constant
conscious
living? You understand? And that's one thing majority of us as Christians, we are not aware of. We don't live a conscious life. We just go to church. We just pray. They call for 21 days fasting and prayer. Okay, let's go. 40 days prayer and fasting. Let's go. You are in church every single day, spending 6-7 hours. Your life is just being wasted. And for me, that was one of the reasons I said, okay, let me review this book, because I know I've wasted a lot of years in church. Primarily in church, not just in my workplace. Because if it's in my workplace, I can actually tell you, okay, this is what I gained in my workplace. This is the amount of knowledge I've been able to accomplish. This is the skills I've acquired. This is the reward. But I can't say that with church. I can't say that with church. And I am always in church. Always. Always. And because I'm so serious, I really want to serve God. And the idea of like, when you talk about, especially the church I just came out from now, when you talk about Matthew 6:33, which is like a slogan, the kingdom, seek first the kingdom of God, all they tell you is for you to go out for evangelism, share tracts, and win souls, and bring them back to the church. And I did that passionately. I did that passionately. In fact, in 2016, at a point in time, I was out on the street almost every day, sharing tracts, preaching to people, talking to them, trying to get them to the church. When I got to a point, I started asking myself, okay, what else? After I speak to them and I bring them to the church, what next? What should be done? And it got me thinking. I said, because I'm bringing them back to the church, and the next thing I'll tell them is to join the department and also go out there and bring more people. I said, it's like a rat race. It's like just like running in circles over and over again. So when I came in contact with your books and the scales started falling off my eyes, I said, no. I just told myself, I said, you know what? I think it's just a waste of time into church for now. I said, let me just sit down and detox myself of all the jargons I've swallowed over the years. All the jargons I've swallowed over the years. And for me, this book, one thing the book did for me, it gave me hope. It gave me a lot of hope. And the hope that no matter what you have lost in the past, that you can actually regain them. Hope is not totally lost. So for those listening to me now, I want to say, if you felt you've wasted your life, if you feel that there is no more hope, there's nothing you can do again, I tell you the truth, just get the book. Get the book. Because one thing I used to tell myself, but I really didn't know how to go about it, was the fact that Abraham started at 70. Moses started at 80. I know we are not in those days where they live very long. I said, but if God could allow them to start at that old age, then there must be a way out for people who have lived. And when I started reading your book, my God, especially when we now started giving testimony of, like, there's a lady you talked about who you met in a mall, a shop, and she was about 43, 44.
Yes.
And you started discussing with her, and you got to find out that it has always been her dream to become a nurse, because that's her passion. And for whatever reasons, life just happened, and she was just stuck in a counter selling the counter. And after you discussed with her, you spoke to her, you lectured her, at the end of the day, at that age, she went back to school, got her degrees, went back, I think got her master's, and got into the nursing profession and started living a fulfilled life. And not even that, you talked about a couple of other people, I have the names on my notes, where I think a lady at 73 wrote her first book.
Yes.
Another one at the age of, I can't remember now, started painting. I painted about 3,600 paintings.
Yeah.
I was like, wow, oh my God. I said, if these people can do it, then what is stopping me? What is stopping me? So for me, I just felt that I really needed to, I don't know, review this book and let people see that if you're still the type wasting your life. I'm not saying don't go to church. If your church is good, if they are teaching you life principles on how to maximize your life, on how to fulfill purpose while you are on earth, fine, go. But if they are not, please don't waste your time. Sit down, get to know God, get information, get knowledge, get wisdom, and make the best of your life. Make the best of your life. Because for me, I just made up my mind. I said, look, I have only one life to live. Right? If I don't do well, I will die. If I do well, I will die. So why shouldn't I take the step, and actually maximize my life? So and that's one of the reasons. The book really, it has helped me to see reality and to understand key principles and concepts about life.
What are some of those concepts or some of those things that you think you took away from the book, and that anybody that is watching now who is thinking he has also wasted a lot of his years? What are the steps? What are the things to do? And or maybe we want to go chapter by chapter or something like that.
Okay, yeah. I can go chapter by chapter. Before I do that, I would say like one key principle I got, it's a very common terminology. You hear people say time is money. Time is money. And because of that, you see people using their time in pursuit of money. Because they feel that, if time is money, then I must spend my time looking for money. But when I read the book, you said time is more than money. Why? Because you can, I think the statement was that you can use time to get money, but you can never use money to get time.
Yeah.
Money. You made a statement. You said $1 billion cannot buy yesterday. $1 billion cannot buy 24 hours that are just gone by.
Yeah.
And I started seeing. I said, "Oh my God, this is true. Time is life." Because you talked about breaking down life.
Yes.
Into
hours.
Into years, months, weeks, and hours, and even down to seconds.
Yeah.
And I never saw it from that perspective. That time is actually life. You can't separate the two. Because every minute you sit down, whether you're watching telly, whether you're reading, time is going. Your life is going.
Now your life will be born.
Your life is burning. So I was not imagining that, okay, instead of us to calculate our life in years, 70 years, when you say 70 years, it looks so long and so far off. But break it down to say, okay, you have only maybe 20,000 hours or maybe 15,000 hours. You now ask yourself, you mean that if I let 1 hour go without doing anything, I've deducted from that 15,000. I said, oh my God. I never ever saw it that way before. So it made sense. It just shined light on me. There's no way I can explain it. It's just all inside. I don't know, it's just bubbling on the inside. So I got decided, I said, what? I said, okay. And one other thing you also said in the book was that the very first step that you can use to start to regain your life is to discover your purpose. That everything you do, everything you waste time in doing that is not geared towards your purpose, It's a wasted time. So for me, that again was another like revolutionary thought, because honestly, Pastor Sunday, I never saw it from that way, from that perspective before. I've never saw it.
That your whole life, your whole time, 24 hours, you all be cycling around only your purpose and your goal.
Only your purpose. And you know what? Let me tell you what happened, because I was involved in a business. It was a marketing, network marketing business. And yeah, the potential of making it was massive, was huge. And I was beginning to do well. But I discovered, even before I read the book, that for some reasons, it was always around money. You wake up in the morning, the first thing you're thinking of how much you're going to make. You want to go to bed, you're thinking of how much you're going to make. It was all just revolving around money, money, money. But after I read your book, it wasn't a hard decision for me. Because I knew instantly that had nothing whatsoever to do with my purpose.
Because it is another way of enslaving yourself.
It's another way of wasting time. And you think that we're actually pursuing money, you want to get money, I want to become rich, but you are actually wasting your time. It's just like working in another.
It's more like wasting your life.
Your life is going, your life. So instantly I just decided, I just cut off. I just stopped the business. I said, look, the time I will spend wasting time pursuing this, I can channel it into my purpose. And anything that is geared towards my purpose. And that's what I've been doing for the past I'll say 4 months. And Pastor Sunday, I can tell you that for the past 4 months, oh God, what God is beginning to like do in my life is just like, in fact, I have so many things that are just piling up there, because I know that they are not for now. I had to, because from the concept and from the wisdom I got from your book, you need to, as much as you want to do so many things, you need to channel, you need to put your focus on this particular thing and put all your energy and all your enthusiasm and all your passion into that thing. And when you complete it, you can move on to do something else. So I have a rule which I also got from your book on how to use my time. So it's just been mind-boggling. It's just been it's life transforming. It's life transforming. It's life transforming.
Yeah. So we would like to attempt to go from chapter to chapter.
Yeah. For like some of the things I've mentioned, which you mentioned in chapter 1. You did say that life without purpose leads to unfulfillment, and that's where you were talking about how we can appreciate our time, and that's why I said I was seeing for the first time that time is actually not just money, time is actually life. Yeah. So chapter 1 actually covered just the basics, the periphery, the general. And you talked about late bloomers. You gave stories of so many different people in the book. Honestly, people should get this book. I can't stress it enough. If you are listening, please get the book. I can't stress it enough. You talked about you briefly mentioned procrastination, which again was one of the challenge I was having, and I did everything I could not to procrastinate. Basically, I will have something to do, but I always kind of like, I don't know why, I always shift it. It's okay, I'll do it today.
Well, you cannot read my books and still be procrastinating.
Pastor Sunday, you know what? The truth of the matter is this, God bear me witness. I prayed, Lord, take this thing away from me. It was still there. But when I read your book, there was no need for prayer. There was no need for prayer at all. Procrastination just died. It just died. I have an idea now, or I need to do something now. Instantly, I don't waste time. In fact, you mentioned something in one of the chapters, which we'll get to. You talked about the 5 seconds rule. Yes. Because after I read it in your book, I saw that there's a book on the 5 seconds rule, but you mentioned the 5 seconds rule. And that helped me a lot. It helped me a lot. like I will always say, we're all humans. I'm not 100% there, but that's what I'm striving to. But I can say that procrastination died a natural death. I didn't have to pray for it because the fire that was burning in me, it just couldn't stay. It couldn't stay, and that's why it's like there's so much projects going on all at the same time. I'm doing like so many things at the same time, but now what I've decided to do was to choose the ones that are actually my passion, put majority of my focus on it, while I just continue to do the other ones by the side. I allocate 1-2 hours, maybe every 2 days, every 3 days to those. The ones that I know are my passion and things I know that are towards my calling, I just put my entire, and in 4 months, I sat down, I think it was yesterday, I was asking myself, I said, do you mean that in just 4 months, I was counting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, almost 10 different, I mean, solid, concrete ideas that God has given me. Some of them I've already taken off, they're almost like, I started working on them, so they're almost like materializing. Others are just like beginning, kicking off. I'm like, oh my God. And you mean I've been in church all my life, just going to church, clapping hands, praying, thinking I was serving God, not knowing that my life was being wasted. So it's been amazing.
So you now have to have, do you now have like 10-year plan or so on how to regain those lost years, so that by 50, even if you couldn't retire not retire, but if you couldn't, you should be ready to die by 40. So if you are not ready to die by 40, at least in the next 10 years, you should cover that ground, so that by the next 10 years, you are ready, you have done enough.
Yes, sir. I definitely. In fact, after I read your book, Stop Working for Uncle Sam, that is another book. When I read your book, Stop Working for Uncle Sam, in fact, I'm working towards it now. And like I said, I think in my letter to you that I had a 3-year plan to completely leave that system. But from what I'm seeing and the steps I've taken, I see myself doing it in maybe 6 or 7 months. In 6 or 7 months, I see myself leaving that system altogether because of the plan I put in place, the structure I've made, and I'm working towards it tirelessly. Like, for example, I'll be starting a business. And the major reason I'm starting the business this month is just to give me time. Just to give me time so that I'll be free to do things I want to do when I want to do them. I'm not caged. Because sometimes I sit in the office and there's so much going on in my mind and in my head. And it's just like there's a padlock on my hands and on my feet. I can't move. I'm like, what kind of life is this? I said, no matter how much they pay me here, it's not worth it. So I've drawn up a plan. Like you said, I have a 10-year plan, and my 10-year plan, yes, I think in 10 years' time, I will be ready. Without a doubt, I will be ready to go home if God should call me, and I will go home satisfied that I did my best. I also have a 3-year plan, and so many things. I have a 3-year plan, and one of my 3-year plan, which I read, which I got from your book, is, I know this might sound funny and whatever to people, but to make my first million. And I'm not just making it for myself or for my family. I have a purpose and what I want to do with that money. And Pastor, I can tell you that from October till now, people pray for miracle, for financial increase. Pray for, go to church, say they give 1 year salary. I didn't do that. But the way my finances has just like, there's no explanation.
Skyrocketing.
There is no explanation for it. I just can't say, okay, how did I do it? But God just started orchestrating things. Why? Because I now have a purpose for that money. I'm not just making the money or just to pay bills, to take care of family. No, the money is now coming, but it's coming for a particular purpose. So yeah, a lot. In fact, like I said when we started, this book, in fact, none of your book can be reviewed in 1 or 2 or 3 hours. It's impossible. You can't. The depth of content in that book is just amazing. It's just amazing. Yeah.
Yes, go ahead.
Okay, no. If you say going by chapters, I think in chapter 2 you talk about the time, the greatest asset.
Oh yeah.
Like we've mentioned.
You're right.
We mentioned. And that is when you talk about the concept of time conversion, which I have never heard. I have never heard the concept of time conversion in my life. And it began to dawn on me that, yes, everything we see today in life is a product of time. Every single thing is a product of time. It took time to create a car. It took time, even the chair I'm sitting on, it took time for somebody to create it. Even the job I'm going to, it was somebody else's idea. It was somebody's thought. It was a concept in somebody's mind that became a product, and now I'm being employed by somebody else's thoughts. So it became, in fact, everything just changed. And you now talk about calibrating of time.
Yeah.
When you talk about calibrating of time, and you talk about the concept of 1 hour, that was so powerful. The concept of 1 hour was so powerful for me. In fact, I don't know how to describe it. So my 1 hour now is my 1 hour. Do you believe, Pastor Sunday? And I kid you not, God is my witness. Since I came in contact with you, if I've watched television, I'll say maybe for the past 4 months, it will not be more than 30 minutes. If I've watched television. My television is just idle now. I don't. Yeah, my child will watch television once in a while, blah, 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 because he comes back, does his homework, go to bed. But I don't watch telly again. It is as if it is dead. I said, why would you watch telly for what?
Because you know the value of 1 hour.
1 hour, the value of 1 hour. And when I think sometimes to the past, I sometimes I want to regret, but again, the teachings in your book will help me not to wallow in regrets. Why? Because it is something now that, okay, now you've wasted those years, you've wasted those time. What are you doing with those time now? With the time you have now? You understand? Because I look back to the past, where you just sit in front of television, you're watching movie, you're watching series 1, series 2, just wasting my life, wasting completely my life. But now, it is impossible. It is completely impossible. It is not possible. And you talk about for us to run with time. You see, you mentioned that successful people understand that the concept that they understand that since time cannot be stopped, time cannot be paused, time cannot be stopped. The only wise thing to do is to run with it, to run side by side with time. Because every time you stop and you say, you start with I'm tired, time is not waiting for you. Time is going. So it is wisdom to run together with time. And those are some of the concepts you gave, and you started talking of the 3 ways you can actually
what you can do with time.
Yeah, you get your last. You're talking about addition of value to your life, addition of value to other people's life, and also using time to create a product or services.
Yeah.
Yeah, product or services.
Somebody is asking where can they get the books. The books, you can get the books on Amazon. You can actually read the books for free. You can, if you have Kindle Unlimited, you can read a lot of them for free. But you can also buy them on Amazon. But if they are too expensive for you on Amazon, you can buy them by writing to my office and just write to dssbooks at gmail.com. dssbooks at gmail.com. So it is dssbooks at gmail.com. Yeah, go ahead, sir.
Yeah, and you talked about adding value to your own life, and one of the ways you can do that is actually reading books, and that is what I have been doing. I've been reading. God knows I have been reading. You also talk about adding value to people's life, and you gave a scenario of 3 men maybe traveling to the office in the morning. One is busy looking through the window, just like watching people doing nothing. Then another one is basically listening to an audio podcast or reading a book. While the third one is busy writing his blog and also writing his book.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you now analyze it and say, okay, look at three people. They spent the same 1 hour on the train, while one wasted his life, not his time, wasted his life. Another one maximized his life by adding value to himself, while the third one didn't only add value to himself, but he also produced a product that will add value to the life of other people. So, and that's the concept I've been using, because sometimes when I talk to my friends, I say, they ask me, where do you get the time to read this book? I say, look, there is time everywhere around you. Time is you. You are time. So how do you maximize using of your time? Just sit down. So that's what I did. I sit down and I started writing areas I think that I waste time. One of the things I wrote was the time I spend watching television. 2, the amount of time I spend maybe in the bathroom. 3, the time I spend...
Just a minute, I'm sorry. I'm reading what Ima Obong Fido is saying. He's saying, I need your books, but I will write to DSA books at gmail.com. No. It's not DSA books. It is DSS books. DSS books. One word, DSS books at gmail.com. So, and then all of you could also become distributors. If you are interested in becoming a distributor, you could also write to DSS books at gmail.com. Yes, go ahead, sir.
Yeah, so I wrote down areas I was wasting time, and that is how I clawed back my time. So right now, at least, even if I don't sit down in one single place to read a book, in my weekdays, I have at least 3 hours to read, because my journey time from my house to my office is 1 hour, journey time back is 1 hour, and my break time in the office is 1 hour. So those 3 hours, I don't waste them at all. I read when going to work, I read when coming back, and in my break time, you don't disturb me in my break time. 12 to 1 or 12:30 to 1:30, I just sit down and I read. And I make sure that every second of that 1 hour is utilized reading. So those are some of the ways I was able to claw back my time, and it's been brilliant. And chapter 3, you talk about discovering your purpose. And
sorry, somebody is saying, this is Idara, that the problem is I don't see all the books on the blog. If you didn't see all the books on the blog, we'll check that, we'll fix that. But also, you just write to dssbooks at gmail.com, you will get a list of all the books, both the old books and the new books. Yes, chapter 3.
Yeah, chapter 3, you talk about discovering life purpose, and you say you categorically made it clear that this is the first step in regaining your lost years. Because if you don't do this, if you don't discover your purpose, this step, every other thing you do will just be wasted. And you didn't just stop there. You now went ahead to actually now tell people how they can. You briefly mentioned it because there's another book completely for that, and I'll tell people, go and get that book, How to Discover Your Purpose. But you now went on to say, after you have discovered your purpose, things you should begin to do to actually maximize your time towards achieving that purpose. And one of the things you said was you should be goal-oriented. I remember it quite because this is one of the things I also read in HMT. And you said you should set goals that are SMART. That acronym just got stuck to my head. Your goals should be SMART. So basically, they should be specific, they should be measurable, they should be achievable, they should be realistic, and they should be timely. So those are things that Pastor Sunday I've never read it before. I've read motivational books, but I've never, maybe it's in other books, but that was the first time I was seeing it. I said, wow, okay. So that really helped me in setting I have a 1 year goal for this year, then I have a 3 year goal, then I have a 5-year goal, then I also have a 10-year goal. It was all these things that actually helped me to actually sit down. Sometimes I'll just spend like just cut out 2 hours of my time, maybe on weekends, and that 2 hours is just for planning. I just sit down and I just start planning. I just start asking myself questions. What is it you want to achieve? What is your passion? What is your calling? What do you need to do? What step you need to take? What are the ideas that God has given to you? I just start writing them down. I just start putting them in perspective and making plans. And each plan, I try as much as possible to break it down to the barest detail. So I try as much as, for example, I say, okay, how much do I want to make this year? I tell myself, okay, this is the amount I want to make this year. I don't just plug the figure out of my head. I say, okay, I tell myself, okay, this is how much I earn. This is how much I can save. Okay, this is how much on average that will come out of my business. This is how much I will get when from the investment I've made. I just make all those calculations, and at the end of the day, I arrive at a figure, and I say, I said, is this target too small? Is it too big? Is it achievable? I ask myself this question, and I put them down, and I write them down, and I'm working. And so far, I'm on target. I'm on target for the past 4 months now. I know how much I want to make at the end of this year. I know the reason I want to make it. I know the use I want to put it to. And ever since I check concurrently every month, I am on target. I am on target. So for me, that was amazing when I read that. And you talk about how to. Your books are too detailed, Pastor Sunday. Honestly, your books are too detailed. Too detailed. It's like you're just feeding people. You tell them what should happen, how it should happen, what they should do to make it happen, when it should happen. Everything is just like stuff in the book. So you went and you're talking about being organized. God should be smart. You went on to talk about in what areas you should be organized. And I actually sat down and I said, yes. I said, these are areas I can actually claw back time, because one challenge I had, although I would say I would count myself as somebody who is organized, but I know in some certain things I wasn't organized, and I was losing time when I actually sat down to think about it. And one of that was, number one, my keys. Where I put my keys. And I wake up in the morning, I want to go to work, I'm looking in the house, so where did I keep my key? I went to helter skelter. At the end of the day, I spent 5 to 10 minutes looking for key. That's 10 minutes of my life wasted. So what I started doing, I come back home, the first thing I do, close the door, just hang my key on the door. So every day I know, once I wake up, I'm not wasting 5 minutes, 10 minutes looking at my key. I just walk straight to my door and I take the key. The other things are my wallets. All those little things. Then what I started doing was, for the whole of the week, I will iron my clothes. All the clothes I wear Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. I just iron them down on a Sunday. So I wake up in the morning, I'm not thinking, oh, I want to spend another 2 hours ironing one clothes. Because when I iron in bulk, I spend less time ironing. So all those things have been able to let me get that time that I'm actually putting and investing in myself. So chapter 3 was another. In fact, you can write a whole book on chapter 3. Then chapter 4, you talked about daydreaming. That was another challenge for me, specifically because sometimes you're just lost in thoughts. You could be in the office working, and sometimes it's down to thinking, what is my life all about? It's down to thinking, why is it I've not achieved what I'm supposed to achieve? I see other people doing well. It's down to just letting thoughts come into your head. Your thoughts are just floating, and really, for me, I didn't really realize that was a time killer. And the fact that it was killing my time, it was also killing my life. It was also destroying my life, because my life was just wasted. So I read it and was like, hey. I said, what will I not see in this book when I was reading it? And you went ahead, you just didn't stop there. And that's one thing I love about you, the way you write. You didn't stop there, mind roaming in your mind and mind daydreaming. is something that destroys your time or whatever. You went ahead to propose solution, and you talked about the 2 seconds rule. How you should be questioning yourself every 2 seconds. What am I doing? Am I here? I'm sitting down here, but am I really here? What I'm reading now, am I actually reading it, or my mind is somewhere else? So you talk about the 2 second rules, and you say you shouldn't just question yourself, but you should also question the activities that you do, as in, this activity I'm doing now, is it leading to my purpose? For example, a friend calls you and says, okay, let's go out for shopping. Oh, your friend or somebody, maybe if you have a friend that has a friend that you do not know, then that your friend is inviting you to come to the birthday celebration or whatever of another friend that you don't know. You should be asking yourself, okay, if I go, what do I stand to achieve? How is it going to help me build my life? How will it help me achieve my purpose? So those things began to ring in my head. And that's why I say right now, if I go to a shopping mall, for example, and I want to go and get something, before I leave home, I plan my whole, in fact, it's like I've already shopped in my head. I plan my whole, how I will get there. I go there. If there's a need for me to check where the shop is, I check. I just go straight to the shop. Tell the cashier, this is what I want. They give me. I pay for it, and I'm back. I'm heading back. I'm not wasting. Initially, in the past, I'll stop and see some of these people who like charity organization, Red Cross, for example, calling you, stopping you, asking you to donate money and all that stuff. You just stand there, at the end of the day, you talk and talk and talk, and you just wait 1 minute. Or you might be walking, you might be window shopping, you might be looking at shoes, although you're not buying them, but you're just window shopping. And by the time you finish, 2 hours is gone because the shopping mall is so big. All that just died a natural death. It just completely. So my time is so focused. And you went ahead to talk about being 100% committed. There's one thing for you to be doing something. It's one thing for you to be asking yourself, okay, what am I doing? There's another thing for you to be committed with an end result in mind that, okay, I am doing this thing. Why am I doing it? What results do I want to get from what I am doing? So that's what I do. Even the books I read, when I'm reading them, the first thing I tell myself, before I read this book, what do I aim to achieve from this book? Especially if I finish a chapter. Ask myself, this chapter I've read, what can I say I have achieved from this chapter? How can I put it into use? You understand? And that's why these days, a lot of people call me and tell me, okay, let's go here, let's go there. And I tell them, I just politely decline. Oh, sorry, I'm busy, I'm doing something. The only thing, you're always working. Is it office work you are doing? I say, I don't do office work. I say, my office work, I call it job. I say, but my own personal work, I say, I'm working my personal work. You understand? So they're always wondering, you're always working. Every time I call you, I'm working. Every time I call you, what are you doing? I say, they don't know that even the book I read, I consider it as work. Why? Because it is adding so much value into my life. Like I think when last time Livio said, he said he never knew, he said he never knew that he could read one book in a day. For me, I never, maybe if I was reading books before, maybe one book in a month, or maybe one book in 3 weeks or whatever. But now, something I never realized, I could do it now. At least I read 2 books every week. That is a target. Initially, I gave myself that I was going to read 52 of your books this year. One book every week. So I started. After I started, I increased the target. I said, no, 52 is too small. I want to read 60. Now, I've shifted the goal again. I say it can be 60. If I read 2 books every week, that's 100 books minimum in a year. And I know you've written over 400 books. I said, if I read 100 books every year, it will take me 4 years. So,
they said you are becoming a clone of DSA. That you are like a genius now. The way you are talking, you are like becoming a genius.
The time is of utmost importance to me. The time. Because you said something. I remember, one of my best chapter in that book is chapter 7, when you talked about intensity. Oh
Yes.
my God.
Talk about
My
that
God.
to people watching us.
My God. Chapter 7, I'm sorry, I'm digressing. Chapter 7, I read intensity. DSA, when I was reading that chapter, intensity, in fact, if you were to retitle the book, I will retitle it The Power of Intensity. That's what I will retitle the book, The Power of Intensity. That book, it was as if my head, my whole body, my whole life was just buried in that chapter. It was too intense when I was reading it. When we were talking of how not just trying to regain your lost years, and you are giving a comparison with Asians and Nigerians, that Nigerians are tenacious, that yeah, it's good to be tenacious. You're talking about tenacity is your ability to stay on a particular thing, to persist until you get it done. But when you talk of intensity, you are talking of adding the virtue of speed to it. You are tenacious, but there is speed, there is purpose, there is passion, you are putting everything into what you are doing. I read that chapter, I read that chapter twice. After I finished that chapter, I went back again to read it. Because it did something for me that, like, if you really want to, if you are the type that lost ground, you are not in your 20s, you are not in your teen age, you are not in your 20s, you are not in your 30s. My dear, intensity is what you need. Intensity is what you need, because you cannot compete with the youth, because they still have time, like you mentioned, for them. You don't have time. Time is against you. So what do? You put everything you got into what you're doing. Everything, your passion, your mind, your everything, you just put into what you're doing. So for me, that was like, in fact, there's a way your book just transformed. It just transformed your thinking, I don't know how to put it, your reasoning faculty. And one thing I also discovered that your book does is the fact that it gives you unusual boldness. The level of boldness your books, it's not, you are not talking about being bold, you are not talking about being confident, but after reading your book, you just discover that you can stand in front of anybody, no matter how big or they are, how educated they think they are, or their papagio. You can stand and you can defend your ground. You talk with a sense of authority. That's one thing I know your book has done for me. There is no atom of fear, one leg in, one leg out. No. You are all for it. It's like your whole, I don't know how to be, that your whole life is just embedded in what you are doing. So no matter what anybody says, no matter what anybody does, you just know. There's this feeling that you just have, that you know that for me, this is my stand. I stand by it. This is the truth. I know the truth, and nothing is changing. So,
what do you think these books can do to all those Christians who have been going to churches for ages and they are just going?
I think that's one of the problems we have in Africa and in Nigeria. Like they said, is a common saying among the whites and among people, that if you want to hide anything from a black man, just put it in a book, because a black man will never care to read. And if you take the statistic, it's true. How many Nigerians read? How many? I remember when I was back in Nigeria, when I was working, I just started work then, because I just love the idea of reading, right? Even though I just read anything, I just read. So in my office, I did a deal with a guy who owned a bookshop. So I told him, I said, look, every month, just bring like 10 of your 20 of your latest books. Just bring them, then I'll select the ones. Why all that to be spending money buying the latest shirts, buying the latest trouser, the latest shoe and all that? You see, every month I told him, come on social day every month. They'll just see the guy pack books in his bag, bring it into my office, start offloading them on my table, then I'll be selecting. And they'll be asking me, you this month, do you want to become a lecturer? Or do you want to become a professor? All these books are reading, what are you reading it for? In fact, some of them will tell you that, look, this one, it is money, just value for money. That is not all these books you are reading. That is their mindset. Because everybody wants to make money, especially in Nigeria. How they get it is not their business. They can kill, they can steal. That's why corruption is so rampant. So we don't have that reading culture in Nigeria. We don't have the reading culture in Africa. But I can say, if we can begin to inculcate or to encourage the idea of reading, because I don't know, I listen to messages, I listen to audio recordings, but reading is different. There is something that reading does. When you take a book and you start reading it line by line, word for word, line by line, there is something that reading does that just listening to messages will not do. Just listening to messages will not do it.
So just from listening to you now, I could tell that it's like your life had just started after reading all this book.
My life is just honestly, I like, and that's why I said when we started that most of the things I'm talking and say I'm doing the project, they are all still in their early stages. Because when did I meet you? Just barely 3 months ago. So yes, and I can tell you that yes, my life is just starting, and there is a kind of joy that I feel now that is just in me, that I know that my life is not being wasted. Every day I wake up, because the way I break my hours down, even sometimes I'm surprised at myself, the way I compartmentalize my hours every single day, because you said something in the book and I've been doing that religiously. Every night before I go to bed, I plan the next day, the 24 hours of the next day. I plan it. And I was telling somebody, I said, because I know that there's a tendency that if I go to bed on time, because I also had challenge with sleeping. So I said, if I go to bed on time, there's a tendency that I might oversleep and I'll not wake up on time. But if I go to bed late, the fact that I know that I'm going to work the next morning and I must be at work at a particular time, I'll be forced to wake up myself. So what I do now, I was telling somebody the other day, I said, I make sure that between 12 and 2 a.m. every single day, I read. I read between 12 a.m. and I could read before then, but 12 a.m. to 2 a.m. every day, I don't waste that time. I make sure I read. Then I sleep. I go to bed by 2. Then by 6 I'm up, do my prayers, do my devotion and whatever. Then I get ready to go to work. So those amount of hours I've been able to like claw back. It's so I live a more, how do I put it? I live a more fulfilled life now. I'm not like wallowing that, oh, I say yes, the past is gone. I've wasted those past, but yeah, I still have quite an appreciable amount of time.
Some people hear what you are saying and say, so these books of mine, they are time management books, just like you read in those business something. But I know they are not time management books. What will you say about this?
Whoever is saying that, the only thing I will tell the person, please go and get the book. Because there's no, you said something, I think you said something in one of you said you cannot teach a man. You cannot teach a man you cannot help a man to learn. You can only, I can't remember the word you put it now, meaning that you cannot force a man to receive something.
You can only give them seed in there.
You can only give them the information. Yeah. So the only thing I will tell the person that there's nothing I will say now about, it's not, you think I'm stupid sitting down and reading in this year alone I've read I think I'll say totally I've read about 9 or 10 of your books, apart from other authors that I've read. So you think people who sit down and read Pastor Sunday's book, they don't have what to do, or they don't have job to do. These books,
they say, what is the name of this book you are reviewing?
How to regain your lost years. How to regain your lost years. It's a book that everybody, and like this person said the other day, video, even if you are young, the book is for everybody. It's not just for people who have lost time. Why? Because the book will help you to know how to avoid the same mistakes that maybe your parents did, your uncle, those who have gone ahead of you, it's a book that our youth should read so that they don't make the same mistakes. Because so many youths are in church right now as I speak, wasting their life. So many youths are wasting their life. So it's a book that I believe that even the youths growing up should begin to read so that they can understand how to avoid wasting their life. In fact, I would say I will recommend it even more for the youths because they still have their whole life ahead of them.
What can these books do to Nigeria? We are all coming from Nigeria. What can these books do to Nigeria?
Well, transformation is always one person at a time, right? A nation can only transform if the people inside that nation are transformed. So if I have read it, it has transformed my life. If others have read it and it has transformed the life of those people, then it's logic. In fact, I think it should start from our leaders. Those are the helms of affairs, those who make decisions. The decision makers, it should start from them. They should, look, for me, like I said, when we started, I have a thing for Nigerian authors. I don't just know why. If I've read any other Nigerian author, very few. And the reasons I read them are because I saw them as Papa and Gio. That's the reasons I read one or two or maximum 3 authors. And I didn't read much of their book apart from the Religious book because that was the church I was going. But Nigerian author, what they offer. But I can say, because, and the truth of the matter, every time reading a book, I just keep telling myself, I said, this man is not a Nigerian. And it's true. You are not a Nigerian. You don't think like a Nigerian. You don't analyze things like a Nigerian. You don't put things that, and that's why people are struggling to get you. Especially our leaders, they are struggling. Religiously, they're struggling because you are coming from a realm that is, honestly, is far above. I remember somebody made a statement during HMT. The person said, DSA is like you came ahead of your time, especially when it has to do with the context of Africa. It's like you came ahead of your time. But when I say God who knows the end from the beginning, He knows that this is the right time for you to come, and this is the right time for you to appear in Africa, because honestly, Africa needs you. Nigeria needs you. Africa needs you. Only if our leaders will get a hold of your books, like your Nigerian books now, I've scheduled them for the month of May. So the month of May, that's all I will be reading, books. And I have a reason why I chose May, because something will happen according to my plan in the month of June. So I've just scheduled the month of May to read every book you have written on Nigeria, every single one of those books. And I will encourage people, look.
But why people are saying, but they are reading now, they are reading other books. Maybe you have not read other books. That's why you are so excited about DSS books. They will say, but we are reading other books. Why DSS books?
See, okay, let me tell you the truth. When I was coming to Nigeria, when I was coming to the UK, I left 300 books. 300 books that I personally bought myself. Books that I read. T.D. Jakes, Anthony Robbins, Robert Kiyosaki, just name them. What's this guy's name that wrote Over the Top, See You at the Top, Do It by Chase. So many books. I've read so many books. It was because of the weight of the books. I just decided I dropped it in one of my cousin's house. I said, just keep the book. Maybe when next I come, I'll get the book. And when I came to the UK, gradually I started like trying to buy books. But I discovered every time.
If you have read 300 books, it means you have read books.
I have read books. Yes, I have read books. But there is something, I don't know. I think for me personally, the way I see it, I think it's the hand of God on you and the hand of God on your books. I think, for me, the way I see it, I think God has just like purposely anointed. I don't know if it's anointed or not, it's just anointed. There's a grace that God has put on your book. Because when I was reading, I just said this. I said this man has a gift. This man has a gift. I just kept telling myself, this man has a gift. And what is that gift? You have a gift of bringing out the best in people. And then I've not met you. I've not met you. I said you have a gift of bringing the best out of people, because I started seeing the transformation in my own life. Just how many months? In just a month, I started reading your book. Before the first 2 weeks, I read the first. I said, no, this is different. It is different. And well, the thing is that you can never convince everybody, but those that will be wise enough to listen and to take the right step are the ones that will benefit. The thing is, people should just get this book. And I said to myself, like,
so what will you say? What is the, out of all those 300 books, what differentiates these DSS books that you are reading from those other 300 books that you read?
Okay, for me, first and foremost, even the 300 books I read, some of them are just like watershed. You read the book and just, oh, why did I waste my time reading the book? You put it aside. Somewhere you say, okay, you get one or two things, but the main difference I've seen, like there's a book when I read Emotion by T.D. Jakes, and he was talking, I can still remember he was talking about the relationship between David and Jonathan. I was talking about how it was trying to bring out some concept. But everything from all the books I've read, apart from maybe one or two, like when I read the book Napoleon Hill, Think and Grow Rich. Yeah, it came close, but everything is always when I could say metaphysical, everything is just on the plane of theory. You understand? Everything is just like theory. So you finish reading a book, for example, and you ask yourself, okay, all this book I've read, how do I apply it to my day-to-day life? How do I apply it? Okay, for example, when I read your book, what's it called? Stop Working for Kusam. So when it started, before I read it, I said, okay, let me see what will be. In my mind, I was thinking, okay, maybe this might be in the book. Judging by the books I've read, I was just saying that maybe this might be in the book, this might be in the book. But when I started reading the book, I was like, oh my God. Everything, you start by giving us the concept, you start by giving us the theory, you start by telling us what is wrong, you tell us why it is wrong, you tell us what to do to address it, you tell us how, not just what to do, you go to a step further to tell us how to do it, and you tell us not just how to do it, the results to expect, and not just the result to expect, we should be able to see on a regular basis if we are making progress. So everything is not you just like you pieces everything to the barest minimum. You just pieces everything. So for me, I know like some authors, once I fall in love with an author, for example, just try as much as possible to get their books. So like Miles Moreau, if there's any other person apart from you now, I would say I've read most of their books, is Miles Moreau. So he was the first one that I ever heard started talking about the concept of the kingdom. I heard about the kingdom. I read Genesis. He talked from Genesis chapter 1, 2. He talked, sometimes some of the things he said, people think it's heresy because they don't understand. I listened, but I still could not. I said, okay, yeah, he has spoken about the kingdom. Yeah, the kingdom is there. So how do we take that kingdom that he has described and impose it, I mean, in our society, in our life, and just like make it the standard? How do we do it? What do we do? What steps should we take? It's not there. But you understand, you get an understanding of what the kingdom is, the kingdom of God, why God established the kingdom. But you keep asking yourself, okay, what in that kingdom? I'm not experiencing it. I want to experience that kingdom. But that is what your book does. When I read the kingdom-driven life, see, you know what I did? I didn't do anything. Immediately I come back from work, I'm on the train, I'm reading. Immediately I come back from work, sometimes I don't even eat. I just sit down, and that's the book I just read. And they'll be saying, "Ah, would you eat? Are you not tired? Go and take your bath. Don't worry, I will do all those ones are secondary." I will just sit down because the book was so refreshing. Why? Because I've heard so much of the kingdom, I've read so much of the kingdom, but this time around, I was seeing practical steps in not just bringing the kingdom to bear in my own personal life, but making sure that the kingdom is established in every sphere. You talked about 7 spheres of life, 7 giants, 7 mountains collectively that should be subdued by the kingdom of God. Now I started understanding when God told Adam in the beginning that be fruitful, multiply, replenish. He didn't just stop there and he said subdue the earth. I started understanding because of the practicality. I think if there's one word I will use to describe the book, is the practicality. Your book is just like going to school. It's just like taking a master's program. And you know, when you finish a master's program, you are now set to start life. You are employable. So you go to an employer, they ask you, okay, which degree do you have? Okay, I went to social school. Your book helps people not just to start life. You actually start living life, but it's like a reference guide, so that every time you're moving, you go back to the book, you reference. You go back to the book as a reference, and you read the book and say, okay, yes, this is what I should do, this is how I should do it, and you come back. So that's one unique thing that I've seen, and that's why I told myself, I said, for this year, apart from, because you were talking one day, and you were mentioning that if you know what I know about Muslims, that no Nigerian will want to go Muslim, we want to remain a Muslim in Nigeria, and you make reference to a book, Muhammad versus the People. I said, okay, since DSA has mentioned this book, instantly I just went and bought the book. And while I was reading one of your books, I finished it, and I just took 3 days interval, and I just read that book. I read the book, then I came back to reading your book. You understand? So that is, I just told myself, I said, this year, no other book. Maybe if I read any other authors, maximum it will be 12 authors, maybe once a month. But the rest of this year, I'm sinking my head because I know what your book has done for me personally. So it is only a foolish man that will see the results of the steps you are taking and will turn around and start looking for something else. For me, it doesn't make sense. Why would I spend my money reading the same books that I've been reading all my life, that I've not been able to take any step or do anything tangible, and abandon the one that I've seen that I've changed my life? For me, it doesn't make any logical sense. So I just told myself, all the titles of all the books I want to read this year, I already have them. The dates I'll be reading them, how many days I want to spend reading them, everything has been, in fact, it's in my chat. Once I finish reading it, I just go there. In fact, in January, I read each of the book I read it twice. Like this, How to Regain Your Lost Years, I read it twice. Who Am I read it twice. Stop Working for Kusam, I read it twice. Create Your Network, I read it twice. And that is how I came to know that I can actually read 2 books in 1 week. Because it took me 3 days to finish one book, and I did a review of the book, and went back again and read it again in another 3 days. So I told myself, if I can read one book twice in a week, it means I can read 2 books in 1 week. And that's why I gave myself the target. I said, okay, this year, I must make sure every week I complete 2 books. So I already have everything down to April, May, June, July, all the books I want to read. It's just that all the titles I have now, I think I'm still looking for more English titles. And that's why I ordered for the 10 of your old books. You understand? To actually complete the list, because I know not all your books have been converted to English. So I made order. So once I complete that 10, I will order for another 10 to come. So that's what I've been doing. And honestly, yes, your books cannot be reviewed in 1 hour. It's impossible.
Thank you so very much. We'll call you back because you've read so many books. Let me remind our readers of the books that you have mentioned that you have read. You say you have read Short Shift.
Yeah, Short Shift.
Kingdom Driven Life.
Yes.
The Essence and Value of Life.
Yes.
Poverty Mindset versus Abundance Mindset.
Yeah.
Life is an Opportunity.
I'm reading that. I'm starting that today.
Okay. Then the Law of Difference.
The Law of Difference.
Okay. This is the one we just reviewed.
Yeah,
How to Gain Your Lost Years.
Yeah.
Stop Working for Uncle Sam.
Yeah.
Who Am I?
Why am I here?
This inform all of this in 3 months. So create your own net wealth.
all that I read in 2 months. Not
In
3
2
months.
months. Wow. How to be in the here now.
How to be in the year now and create your network.
Bravo, bravo, bravo. That's why you have so much result. That's why your life has changed so much. And in 15 minutes time, I'm coming on live again. So unfortunately, we have to let you go, but you have done so very well. We have to get you to come back over and over again. Thank you, Chris. Thank you so much. We'll see you in 15 minutes.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, everybody. Bye.
Bye.